Monday, February 19th. Well, I got into this book, this old book that Uncle Mal found for me. It's called Indian Wars. It's the story of Chief Pontiac. It was written by Francis Parkman, published in 1870. It's hard to read. And I dug into it, maybe 50 pages or so. And a lot of details about the battles between the English and the native folks, and the Ottawas and the Oneidas and the Mohawks and what they call the Delawares, which we call Lenape. And well, this was tough. This was a tough book to read. Francis Parkman wrote it more than 100 years after any of this stuff had actually happened. And the stories that I was finding in this book were obviously, they were all the English's version, side of the English. There were no real native versions of the same stories, even though their descendants, the people who were in the wars, were still around. I mean, the Iroquois, the Algonquins, they were still around when Parkman was writing, but he didn't talk to any of them. And, well, the other thing is, through all these stories, it's the English are the English, and the natives are savages. They're always referred to as savages, which is interesting because it's the English that are invading their homes, but the natives are savages. Yep. And at the same time, Tessie brought home the next volume of the American Heritage Illustrated History of the United States, Volume 11, A World Power. The United States was growing up really fast. There's a picture of the Spanish-American War, the Americans defeating the Spanish fleet. And, well, Ricky Cramshaw and I, we sat on the living room floor and we were looking through all of this, and there's a lot of stuff going on. There's more wars, and there's changes, and there are funny little cars being invented, and there's electric railroads, and there's even the first aeroplanes, the Kitty Hawk. And then I found right here at the beginning, it says, American frontier was no more. No more. It said this fellow, Frederick Jackson Turner, said that America had conquered the frontier. And Ricky said, so does that mean there's no more nature? No more wild nature? I said, well, no, it's still around, Rick. It's just that it's, it's not as wild as it used to be. But I like the wild. Well, yeah, I like the wild too. It seemed that, between these two books, this Francis Parkman book, 100-year-old book, and 1870, and this one, of course, The World Power, this was 1963, it seemed that the natives were savages in this one, and in this one, well, they didn't even appear. They weren't even in this book. But Ricky and I both knew they were still around, and they were the wild that we liked. They were the wild of nature. Now, if we knew this, how come American Heritage didn't seem to know it? Yeah. Well, we're going to have to figure that out. All right, well, we'll see you again tomorrow.